face it, claiming an inheritance in England isn't very easy, especially if your name happens to be Bullwinkle Moose. Yes, those words, Rue Britannia, on the bottom of his foot entitled our moose to inherit a £1,000,000 note. But there was a stumbling block. 3 stumbling blocks named Filcher Crankcase, Belcher Crankcase, and Jay, nephews to the recently departed Earl.
We must find a ruse for cooking his goose.
So saying, they drove to the White Cliffs of Dover, intending to push our heroes over.
What'd everybody do, get rhyming dictionaries for Christmas?
Luckily, the cab was no pushover, and in the ensuing mix-up, it was the nephews who took the plunge, not Rocky and Bullwinkle. Later at the law firm of Lamb, Curry, and Rice...
Is it true, Mr. Lamb? Is Bullwinkle really the new Earl?
No doubt of it, my boy. That tattoo on his foot matches the one in this picture.
Unfortunately, before the new Earl could collect the £1,000,000 note, he had to spend 1 week inside Abominable Manor.
I don't like the looks of it, Bullwinkle.
Oh, clibber clabber rock. I could live there 1 week standing on my head.
Funny Bullwinkle should say that, for just inside the door, someone had carelessly left a Burmese tiger trap. And when Bullwinkle stepped inside, he really put his foot in it.
Say, this place doesn't look so bad.
Rocky's flying squirrel-like eyes gazed about the main hall, tastefully decorated in early Prohibition style and topped off with what appeared to be a very unusual chandelier.
Bullwinkle, what are you doing up there?
You heard the man. I'm a very unusual chandelier.
This is no time for fooling around. Come on down.
Wait a minute, I'll light up for you.
And even though the rope broke, Bullwinkle kept his promise. He lit on his head.
I hate episodes like this, even though I get the money later, which I probably won't.
Exploration of the rest of the manor eventually took them to the second floor and a sinister door.
I wonder what's in there.
Yeah, it's probably just a broom closet.
Rocky was only half right. Actually, it was a spear gun closet, and one of them was set up so that whoever opened the door would get it right between the eyes. Like most closets, though, this one, too, had a sticky door.
Forget it.
I can't, Rock. It's become a kind of fetish with me. Come on, door. Open.
Being as strong as a moose, Bullwinkle managed to rip the door right off its hinges.
Hokey smoke! A spear just shot over my head.
Turning around, Rocky gasped at what he saw, for there, pinned to the wall, was the spear, embedded in the head of a moose.
Bullwinkle!
It does look like me, doesn't it?
Oh, my gosh! For a minute, I thought that moose head was you.
Well, how do we know it is until we check?
The car wash failed, the Burmese tiger trap failed.
So did the spear gun.
But this won't. The moose will pick up the phone, I'll plug in this connection, and 11 million volts will go through him.
I think somebody's out to get you, Bullwinkle. Let's phone Scotland Yard.
Let's phone the police first.
And Bullwinkle headed for the nearest phone, not knowing that it was connected to a diabolical switchboard in the cellar.
Hello, operator. Give me the police.
There he is now. Ready? Here we go.
But although the connection was made, nothing happened.
It's no wonder you forgot to plug this in.
That's when the short-circuited.
Big Joe is going tonight. Operator, never mind the police. Let me speak to the governor.
Would you mind getting off the phone, please?
What are you going to do, Filcher?
We're through playing around. The only way to get rid of the moose is to call in a professional.
You mean?
Yes, the exterminator.
Well, it looks as though the situation is getting worse. Who or what is the exterminator? We'll find out next time in episode 120 or 123.
And now it's time for...
5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But...
Oh!
Now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Enjoy your lunch, son?
Oh, hi, Pop. This isn't lunch.
So I can see. Candy, wasn't it?
Uh-huh. I was going to give it to my girl for Valentine's.
Instead, you gave it to your stomach.
Well, she doesn't like me anymore. She's got a crush on Butch Croesus.
Well, I should think you'd be heartbroken.
Well, I was. For about 5 minutes.
Junior, you have just displayed a perfect illustration of one of my favorite adages, to wit, time heals all wounds.
And now comes the fable, right?
Right. This one is entitled The Owl and the Wolf. There was once a wolf who had an uncontrollable passion for clocks. Clocks of any kind, wristwatches, sundials, anything, so long as it told the time.
Oh, man, them tic-tics, ain't they the most?
Now, this wolf was a highly unsavory character, for you see, he'd come by those timepieces illegally.
10 o'clock. Time for me to go to work.
Work was highway robbery in the strictest sense.
Stop! I am the masked clock.
Usually, the coaches stopped.
How about that? An express?
And sure enough, the next one did.
Your clocks are your lives.
Please, sir, all I have is this egg timer given to me by my mother.
Like that's tough, Turtle.
And the cruel wolf took his booty and departed. Now, during the day, the wolf worked in a clock shop.
What time do you have, Wolf?
1:30, boss.
The boss was no fool. He knew that on the wages he paid the wolf, he could never afford an egg timer like that. Something was rotten in Denmark, which is where our story took place.
So, you suspect the wolf of being the masked clock, eh?
I do, Inspector.
All right. We'll set a trap for him and see what happens.
Oh, good afternoon, sir. Something I can do for you?
Yes, I'd like to know how much this alarm clock is worth.
The wolf could hardly control himself. Never had he seen a clock like this before.
Wow, a second hand, a third hand, and even a fourth.
Tell you what, I'll come back tomorrow and you let me know how much it's worth. Oh, and incidentally, I'll be on the midnight stage tonight.
It was an ingenious trap. If the wolf were the masked clock, he would definitely stick up the midnight stage, hoping to snare the alarm clock, and the inspector would be well prepared.
Halt! I am the masked clock.
The wolf was there, but the inspector wasn't. For the midnight stage he had referred to was the stage of the Midnight Theater, where he was appearing as a juggler. The following morning...
Oh, good morning, sir. I missed you last night. I mean, you're looking well.
About this alarm clock, Wolf, how much is it worth?
I can't tell you now, but I will tonight. I'll meet you on the midnight stage.
You guessed it, the inspector took the ride while the wolf juggled.
Look, Wolf, we can't seem to get together, can we?
It has been difficult.
Suddenly, out of nowhere, a masked bear appeared.
Pause up! I am the masked watch.
Clock.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're not. I am the masked watch.
Clock.
Before the inspector knew what was happening, the bear grabbed the coveted alarm clock and ran off.
Quick! We must stop him, the dirty thief.
You stop him. I got to juggle. Matinee today.
The wolf bought a ticket on the first stage leaving town. Strangely enough, so did his boss.
Why aren't you minding the store, Wolf?
I'm on the trail of the masked watch, that's why.
Masked clock, you mean?
Oh.
The stage rattled on over the countryside, that is, until it reached a certain obstacle.
It's the inspector.
Everybody out. Okay? One of you is a masked clock. Which is it?
Not I, sir.
Nor I.
Don't give me that. You see, I can tell which one it is by searching you and finding my alarm clock.
But the two suspects remained steadfast.
Look, there's something you should know. I loaded that alarm clock with TNT, and it's due to go off any second. Now confess, or we'll all be blown up.
The seconds ticked by, but the wolf and the bear refused to admit anything. Suddenly, the clock, which was in the bear's pocket, broke the silence.
Oh, my gosh, it's gonna go off. Here, take it, Inspector.
Ah, so you are the masked clock.
No, sir, I am. Now, please, get rid of that thing before it goes off.
Never fear. It isn't really loaded with TNT. I just said that to trick you.
Well, it may not have been loaded with TNT, but whatever it was, the clock certainly didn't work too well. The wolf, the owl, and the bear all went on to bigger and higher things.
It serves him right, Pop.
You bet it does. That's why I say time heals all wounds.
That's not what I say. I say time wounds all heals.
Here's the one man on television who really makes you think, Mr. Know-It-All.
Yeah, and I know what you're thinking, too. Same to you, buddy. Today, friends, we take up the problem of making your neighbor quiet without making him angry. Take that loud radio music, for example. Politeness is the important thing, and it always brings a polite response in return. Hello, kindly neighbor! I'm here to discuss your radio in a friendly, neighborly way.
My what?
Your radio!
Hey?
Radio, the radio!
Oh, all right.
Sometimes, however, it may become necessary to make your point in a stronger manner. Take that party next door, for example. One can usually get results by simply tapping gently on the wall. If that doesn't work, one must tap harder. And if that doesn't work, which naturally leaves just one thing to do, and that is join the party! Excuse me, please.
That's him, officer.
But officer, I only blew it once, like this.
Gee, Mr. Know-It-All, it doesn't look to me like you're very successful at making your neighbors quiet.
Oh, I don't know, Rock. Here in solitary confinement, you can hear a pin drop.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Button up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Mush. That cry echoing over the frozen north meant one of two things. A dog team was on the run, or there was oatmeal for breakfast. The man who cried mush for the Canadian Mounted Police was Constable Dudley Do-Right, for it was his job to serve the post commander breakfast.
Inspector Fenwick, sir, I have your mush here.
Oh, good morning, Do-Right. Set the oatmeal on my desk and watch out you don't trip on that shag rug. Oatmeal's a little cool this morning, isn't it?
Inspector Fenwick had given 30 years of his life to the service. Then he quit the gas company and joined the Mounties.
Here, Do-Right, you handle roll call today. And oh, this time look out for that shag rug.
Roll call was part of the post daily routine. Each morning the Mounties would stand at attention on the parade grounds and state what kind of rolls they wanted with breakfast.
How about it, Earnshaw?
Kaiser.
Check. Renfrew?
I think I'll have a bagel.
Do-Right was about to put down another check when the flow of ink became sluggish.
Oh, a pox on these pens.
Flicking the instrument, Dudley sprayed ink all over Renfrew's face. But neither he nor anyone else took notice of it. What's more, as he went down the line, he continued flicking the pen. By the time Inspector Fenwick came out to review his troops, every last man was covered with ink spots.
Good morning, men. I shall now give you your orders for the day after I clean the specks off my glasses.
But, sir, you're not wearing specs.
Well, if I'm not, then an epidemic has broken out.
Oh, mother of pearl, you're right.
Quick, everybody into sick bay.
Within minutes, the post hospital was filled to capacity. Unfortunately, Dudley had decided to sterilize the thermometers by putting them in boiling water.
What is Nelson's temperature?
182.
Little high, isn't it?
Well, he's sick.
Oh, yeah. Do-Right, you and I are the only ones who haven't been hit. You have to reach the trading post at Quebec and bring back a miracle drug.
Quebec was only a block and a half away, but this was summer, and Canadian summers can be mighty cold. To make it worse, a blinding snowstorm blew up from the Rockies and the Bullwinkle.
The only way I'll get through is with a dog team.
It is here that the villain enters our melodrama. This despicable-looking creature is Snidely Whiplash, proprietor of a cut-rate dog team store.
So you see, sir, if I don't get the miracle drug, the Corps will perish.
If I got the miracle drug, I could sell it to the Corps for a fortune. Amount, you have touched my heart with your tender tale of woe. I shall equip your sled with two of my stoutest canines, Frick and Frack.
What type of dogs are they, kind sir?
Malamute Chihuahuas.
Can they pull a sled?
Listen, who do you think pulls Santa's sled every Christmas?
Dudley wasted no time in hitting the trail to Quebec.
On Frack!
But the wily Whiplash was determined to see that he never got there.
I'll head him off at the pass.
The pass was the only way of getting through Horace Heights, a tortuous series of snow-covered peaks that defied penetration and Dudley Do-Right.
I must get through, I must!
Just a moment, Mountie.
Out of my way, sir. This mail must go through.
What? You'd run over Santa Claus?
Santa dresses in red. You're wearing black.
I'm in mourning. Rudolph got it in the antlers.
Bad show. What can I do for you?
I must have your sled and dog so that I can open Santa Claus Lane.
But without them, I'll never find Quebec.
Quebec is just over the horizon.
But what Whiplash pointed to was the brink of an 8,000-foot cliff. Dudley debated his position, but then who could doubt Santa Claus? Off he went, out he went, and down he went.
Now all I have to do is go to the trading post and pick up the miracle drug. On frick! On frack!
Whiplash was in for a severe disappointment, for Dudley, now in the shape of a gigantic snowball, was avalanching his way down the mountainside. He made it to the trading post just as Whiplash stepped up to the counter and said,
A bottle of miracle drug.
To go!
Whiplash had a terrible case of whiplash, and Dudley had the miracle drug.
I'm back, sir.
Do-Right, you've got the drug. Quick, man, before the disease hits us, we must take the medicine.
And they each downed a quarter of a bottle.
There. Now we'll give it to the others.
But just then...
Inspector, the men and I we just took our Saturday night baths and the spots came off. They were ink.
Oh, thank heaven. Do-Right, it's all over. The crisis is past.
You're right, sir. Our troubles are over. There'll always be an England, but there may not always be a Bullwinkle. For in our last installment, he faced the bleak prospect of having to spend 1 week inside Abominable Manor before he could collect his inheritance.
Yes, and in case you don't know, I am the new Earl of Crankcase.
And Bullwinkle's going to inherit £1 million note.
£1 million? Sounds kind of heavy.
Nevertheless, that's what you're going to inherit.
Inherit? I can't even lift it.
Of course, Bullwinkle won't even be able to try to lift it. Not if the Crankcase nephews can help it. First, they tried to do our moose in with a Burmese tiger trap.
But that didn't work.
Next, they attempted to shoot him with a spear gun.
That didn't work either.
And finally, they sent 11 million volts of electricity through the phone on which he was conversing.
That worked.
Yes, but in reverse. Realizing they were up against a much too formidable opponent, the Crankcase boys decided to call on a professional assassin known as the Exterminator.
Operator, get me the Black Hole of Calcutta, please.
This is not a recording. You are talking to Executive Secretary to the Exterminator.
Let me speak to your employer, will you?
Boris, darling, you busy?
Sure I'm busy. It's lunch hour. This is the way we slice the bread, slice the bread, slice the bread. What kind of cheese you want in sandwich, Natasha? Blue or Swiss?
Swiss, darling.
Swiss coming up.
By the way, you got it business call.
Business call? Goody. Things are looking down. I'll take it in mausoleum.
The deal was quickly made, and it was only a matter of minutes before Boris and Natasha were on their way to England.
Who we off to kill this time?
The name of the victim is unimportant.
What a strange name.
I agree.
It was well after midnight by the time they arrived at Abominable Manor, where they were enthusiastically greeted by the nephew's Crankcase. Yeah.
Sort of gets you right here, don't it, Natasha?
And with Filcher Crankcase leading the way, Boris was escorted to a door containing a large peephole.
Victim is in here?
Yes, look in there and you'll see the new Earl of Crankcase. He is your victim.
That's victim.
But you said,
Please, leave the dialect to me.
But victim or victim, all Boris had to do was focus his evil eyes on Rocky and Bullwinkle and...
Oh, boy, Natasha, you're never going to guess who's on the other side of the door.
Is Peabody and Sherman?
Silly girl, flying squirrel and moose.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Hey, you. You know there's two in there?
yes, the moose is the one we want you to exterminate.
Okay, buddy. I tell you what I'm going to do. Going to make you package deal. Going to kill two for the price of one.
And so a few moments later, a knock was heard at the front door.
That must be the police, Bullwinkle.
Hey, are you the police?
Right there, Governor. I'm a Bobby.
Who's she?
She's a Billy.
Golly, officers, I'm sure glad you're here. I fear for Bullwinkle's life.
Come on, I got to put you under police protection.
So saying, Boris escorted our unsuspecting heroes into a nearby closet.
How come we have to stay in here?
It's only safe place in house. But so you don't get lonesome, here is a radio for you to play.
Hey, that's mighty thoughty.
However, that was no ordinary radio, for instead of tubes, it contained sticks of TNT.
Yes, and soon as it warms up, boom! No more Rocky and his friends.
Will Boris have a show of his own next week? We'll find out in Explosive Situation or Don't Make It Worse, It's Bad Enough.
Someday for our fan club picnic, sunshine, blue skies.
Sunshine, blue skies. Terrible, isn't it? But maybe we'll have a sudden storm later.
Okay, here we are. Everybody set for the sack race?
All set.
Captain Peach Fuzz, you're supposed to use an empty sack.
That would make it easier, Rocky.
Hey, your feet are sticking out. That's not fair.
Well, must be a moth hole.
That'd have to be a pretty big moth.
You got a pretty big moth yourself, buddy.
This sack racing seems awful dangerous to me.
Dangerous?
Yeah, might run into a tree or something.
Now, first one to the tree and back wins. Ready, set, go! Gee, I didn't know you were so good at this, Bullwinkle.
It's nothing. I spend a lot of my spare time in the sack, you know.
Time for the Miss Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club contest.
All set, darling.
A pretty girl is like a melody.
That's melody.
With Natasha in contest, it's melody.
Where are the other contestants?
What other contestants? She's the only girl in the club.
Sort of narrows down the competition, don't it?
As head judge, Natasha, I'd like to give you this trophy.
Pretty good, Natasha. Last thing you got from a judge was 90 days.
Well, let's eat. Did everybody bring his favorite dish like we decided?
Yep.
Bullwinkle, yours is empty.
This is my favorite dish, Rocky. You didn't mention anything about bringing food.